Hi guys, this is Keena for Crafty Mayhem and More. I am getting ready to start filling in. There's my sand block and my paintbrush. I have my wood filler and my actually painting spatulas, and I'm ready to go. So here you see me, I started sanding the larger surfaces. It had some big divots in it from me removing the shingles, and so I really need to sand. In addition, I need to sand it and fill it in addition to that, the edges from when they originally constructed this dollhouse were very, very rough, and if you've ever painted anything wood and you don't sand those edges, when the paint dries, the holes and the inconsistencies in the wood grain actually look terrible to me. So I usually, when I put a dowel house together, if it's not one of those plywood things, I go ahead and I sand my edges down so that when I paint it, it's smooth. And then after I sand it, if I see any little holes in it, I'll put a little bit of wood filler. With this project, because it's a rehab and I had to remove the shingles and it's my first rehab, I have not experienced any episodes of losing larger chunks of wood, and you'll see that later on in the video. So here I am just sanding away, and it rested. Keep in mind that this is my first time doing a rehab, and I have actual major repairs to do to this doll house. And as I was sanding, I was getting a good idea of how many repairs that I would have to do. As far, I knew I was going to be re-gluing and supporting different areas because the doll house is so old. But I'm glad I went ahead and got started on this. This was my second, I think, weekend off from the new gig. And so I really had a chance to do it. It's been so hot, so I couldn't get out there during the week and get anything done. But it's really cool today and raining, so it was a good day to get out there and get started. Sometimes in the video, you'll see me running my fingers around the edges, and I'm only sanding just enough to get it smooth and remove splinters. I am not trying to sand down the size of the wood pieces. And as you can see, I kind of switched up because when I was around those thinner edges of the dollhouse, I was going in both directions, and I'm not thinking, and I thought about it, and I'm like, Jesus, I don't want it to be uneven. So to keep your wood pieces even, you really should sand in one direction, and that wood block is good for that. Although that Dollar Tree wood block does not tell you what the grit is on the paper, it does say medium to fine, and I have used this on multiple projects, and that block really does well. Now, because this wood was so rough, that particular sanding blocks kind of started to crumble apart. But that's okay because I really managed to do it. And I decided as I was filling it in or sanding it that I was going to do a test area. And I wanted to do a test area because as you know, you usually put the wood filler in with a metal spatula. And so since I was trying those paint palette tools, I just wanted to test them out to see how they were. In addition to that, I am using Gorilla wood filler, and I have not used that brand before. I just went with it because I know the glue as being a stronger project. So while this seems like it should have taken me forever, and that's what I kind of had in my mind as I started to work on it, I realized that this was not going to be a big project because all I wanted to do again was to get those loose splinters and make the wood relatively smooth. Now, realizing that I am going to cover the with something. I don't think that it's going to be shingles, but it's going to be something. It wasn't really a big deal. But since I am going to keep this as an heirloom piece for any future grandchildren or great grandchildren, I decided to make sure that it was as sturdy as it could be and that everything was done correctly. Plus, this has been my dream type dollhouse besides a front opening. So I just said, let me just do the whole nine and try some things that I hadn't tried, because if this works out for me, I will seriously probably be rehabbing more dollhouses. I'm just really happy that I got my miniature mojo back. So I'm in it to win it this summer. And as soon as I get my sleep schedule together, because working is 3 to 11, I am so thrown off. I don't care if I go to bed at 1 a.m. when I get home. I always wake up 4 or 5, whatever. And then I'm up for a couple hours. Then I try to go back to sleep for a couple hours. And it's just not working. So I got to get some consistency so that I can come home and work on my project. Of course, not at night because it's dark, but so that I can get up in the morning and do more than I've been able to do. So here I'm really pretty much finishing up the major parts, and I'm taking the paintbrush and I'm trying to get the little sandy pieces and dust out of the crooks and crevices before I start to apply the filler. I had not decided where I was going to put the filler as of yet. And if that piece of lint on my butt is not bothering you guys, it is bothering the heck out of me. But there's no way we're going to do a reshoot of this video. So get your laughs in now, because next time on the next video, I am going to check the apparel. All right, so here I am just finishing up, and I'm noticing that dust is flying everywhere. And then I come up with my brilliant idea, which you will check out in just a second, as I am seeing dust fly up. So I walk over to my little cubby hole in my screen house, and I pull out ye old blow dryer. So while I'm plugging up this blow dryer, guys, I knock over my granddaughter's bubbles. And so, like, hoping I don't electrocute myself at this point. So I'm resetting the stuff over there. Nothing got wet, but I'm like, kids. So I just decided to blow dry the dust out. And it wasn't on heat. I didn't want to try to heat up any glue or anything like that. So I just used the blow dryer with that cool button. If you have one of those blow dryers, I just blew it on cool just to blow the dust out as much as I could. So I'm just blowing away and getting down in there. So there's a huge gap where you see that little dormer in the front. So I don't know if I should fill it with glue or try to put it with filler, but putting that filler in, you got to pack it. And so you can run it through there and it'll be, look like it's filled, but it's not. So that's me taking a microfiber cloth, and I did not wet it or anything. I'm just wiping it off. Wiping to make sure that there's no dust. And the other thing that came in handy for is that if there were any splinters, it kind of snagged a little bit and gave me a chance to take care of that. So always have a microfiber cloth. Now here I am deciding to do the filler, and you can see what I mean when I say big gouges. I probably should have zoomed in, but I have my Gorilla Wood filler, and I have my palette knives, and I am trying to open the container at this point, but I was on the struggle bus for a second. And I finally got it open, and then I mixed it up, because the part that was like around the edges of the top part, it was a little stiff. So I decided to like knead it up or mix it up a little bit in there before I used it. And because I was doing the test area and it's kind of humid and raining outside, and I didn't know if these elements were very appropriate for doing this. I decided to not get a plate, but I advise you to take you some out and put it on a plate, aluminum foil, whatever it is you're going to use, and then start to fill in so that the wood filler within the container will not dry out. So this is me, and I have the wrong knife actually. And it took me a second to, I'm like, why is this not going on like, paint would with a triangular palette knife, but it took me a minute to fill out. Now that particular one did come in handy actually for packing down as I got later into the script for doing this. So here's me just really trying to pack it in there. And I'm not going just in the spot. That's when I figured out that I had the wrong knife, and then I started to use it, and it was actually firmer. So I had more control of it over the knife and could put more pressure because it was plastic. But I think I'm going to switch to the metal putty knife. I'm sorry, paint scraper. But as per usual in this household, when you have something and you leave it out for the general public, things come up missing, and this was no exception. I had my heavy duty scraper that I did not want to use for the wood filler, but my little cheap $1.25 wood scraper came up missing, and I don't know how, because they were together and there was no reason. I do know how, but I can't find it at this point. So I have to get up to Dollar Tree and just give me another $1 scraper. So, but this was actually working fine. And I'm just filling it in here and trying to make sure it's deep in the groove. Now, the reason that I am not worried about the fact that I'm not sticking directly to the holes and or gouges that were in the wood is because I am going to sand it. So it has to be sanded again, so it really doesn't matter. I just was trying to be a little artistic here and keep it really smooth. And then the more I scraped, I could see that it wasn't really filled in. So like I said, I've never done these big gouges before, so I don't know how it'll work out if I let it dry and then go back over it. So this will be, like I said, my test area to see what the best method for completing this project would be. And because the area that I'm doing is like the larger type gouges, if it was a hole or something, or not really deep, it says to let it sit for an hour, but for these it kind of says for 2 to 6 hours. So that sucks. I wish I could have finished all that I wanted to do and then went back and just sanded all at once. But again, I want to do this correctly. So test area it is. And I not only did this spot, I did another area, which I think I put on camera while I'm doing this voiceover. So here's me, and I know I can see I'm sitting at an angle, so I can see that there are little divots in the wood filler, so I know that it is not completely filled. So I'm trying to apply more, move it around, put the excess into the actual areas that had the gouges. But again, not worried about the immediate surrounding area because it is all going to be sanded. Now, thinking ahead for the sanding process, I have my Dremel, but I also purchased what did I purchase? Oh, I purchased one of the nail file things like they use at the nail salon. So, let's call it a mini Dremel or a Dremel Junior. So, I thought that would be really small and good for getting into the smaller areas. And it's not like I do my nails, as we can clearly see. If you check out some of my diamond painting videos, yeah, I put on a good air like I do my nails or something, but I don't. I'll do them for the video and they'll stay on for as long as they stay on, but yeah, it's not a thing for me. So I'm continuing to smooth out and try to feel, and this is just a process. Now, what I'm thinking here is because of the tool that I had, the filler was kind of sticking to the plastic more so than it would to something that was metal. So I'm gonna go out sometime today and purchase a paint scraper. Just a little cheap one, the flat one. Hopefully they have a little smaller one, but I don't think I remember seeing that at the Dollar Tree, and as I am a Dollar Tree aficionado, I'm pretty much on the money with that. So I'm still trying to fill this in and get it smooth. Right now in this process, I'm trying to be, artistic and neat and have it all smooth. And then I realized, girl, you get ready to sand that. So, what the heck? It doesn't have to be pretty. The gouges have to be filled in. So start doing that. So that's what I'm sitting here trying to do. Make sure that it is all filled in. And that's about it. So I think at this point is when I started to do work on the bottom. There's something on the base, like the porch area. And I'm filling it in, but I'm not showing it on camera. And I realize that I'm not showing it on camera. So at this point, I'm trying to get some stuff out of the way so that I can do that. And I think that's what I'm doing right now. Anyway, it's looking pretty good. The actual Gorilla Glue filler was really fine. It was easy to work with and pliable. So I can't think of the pen wax. It's men wax. The men wax filler is what I generally use. There was really no difference in the texture, and so that was pretty much a good thing. So this is me adjusting the view so you guys can see, and I'm trying to get some more putty out the area that I'm talking about, and I am going to move this out of the way, and I hope I had the angle right. So this is one of the areas right on the side where it was painted over. Like, apparently when it was put together, the wood splintered, but they still painted over it. So I'm not going to worry about this paint nor this wool filler because it is paintable. So when I go to prime this Dollhouse, it'll just get painted over. So no big deal there. Now, that actually went in pretty smoothly, and I was satisfied with it really quickly right there, and it was just 2 small areas. So as I'm fiddling around with it, I'm just at this point making sure that it is nice and smooth. Now, if you can see by the windowsill where that wood is kind of splintered, that's another area that I'm going to have to work on because I have some areas of the wood that is like this. And now you can see that edge right there. Not only do I have to put in a base to try to repair that, but there's an area there that I'm not going to repair because it's really like nothing I can do about it unless I add like something decorative on that corner. I don't know. But as you can see, the very bottom trim, that wood is broken out off. So it was kind of like some of the wood was dry rotted, but I haven't really decided what I'm going to actually do for a base or how thick of a base I want. So as I'm doing this, it's giving me an opportunity to look at all of or run into the defects, especially like areas that need to be re-glued, things that I know that I'm going to have to repair if I'm just going to like cut that wood so that it is nice and even, and then just glue another piece of trim to that. I'm not sure. I think I want a more solid base, so that will probably be coming off. However, I'm not worried about the base at this point. That will come before I start my painting. And I might be doing this in reverse order than somebody else, but I'm not. I haven't touched this dollhouse in years, so I have to refamiliarize myself with what it is that I'm gonna do. So right now I'm taking care of some of the aesthetics, but I'm also gonna be doing some wiring. So waiting a little longer as I decide where I want lighting and how I'm gonna run this electrical wire tape through the house, and what I have to flip over and where it's going to be is going to be play a big factor in what I end up doing with the bottom of the dollhouse, because you know that's where everything is going to kind of end up as far as the electrical part of it. So that's going to be a part of it, so it's going to at some point run down towards the bottom of the house. So this is me, and I spent quite a while trying to fill in this, because when I tell you that those gouges were huge, they were really, really big. And I spent quite a while trying to fill that in. What you are not going to see off camera, on camera, I'm sorry, is that when I ended this video, I went ahead and used the finger method. And I used the finger method because I could feel whether I had packed it in, and I could actually use my finger to pack it in. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and share.